What's going on, everybody? I'm Terrence, and this is Bank Shipping. All right, hopefully everybody's having a good day today. Hopefully everybody's getting their grind on like always. I'm coming to you guys from my office because I am down for the week. Had some trailer brake issues Friday of last week. Lost trailer brakes on the way home, and I thought maybe it was just out of adjustment or wire or something like that. Stopped at a buddy's trailer shop, got everything fixed up. It was towards the end of the day, so they were getting ready to leave. So I left out of there, and it still had no brakes. Still wasn't working. So Monday, I took it back Monday morning. We worked on that thing from 7:30 in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon to no avail. So, we troubleshooted everything, checked voltage from brake controllers back to the truck, checked the 7-way of the truck, checked the voltage of, at each brake magnet or each brake assembly to make sure it was getting the proper volts back there. And it was, we changed wires. We checked ohms on the brake magnets, and still doesn't work. It's kind of a weird situation. One of those things that it's got everybody's head spinning. I mean, I've talked to Dexter, and I've talked to a brake engineer at Dexter, and they still don't even know what's going on. So I've taken some other avenues on trying to get this thing fixed up, and still have no trailer brakes. So the next step is to check to replace the magnets. At this point, I'm kind of just throwing money at the problem to see what happens. It sucks, but you got to do what you got to do. So the only bad thing is my trailer has Alco axles, which Alco is no longer. They were bought out by Dexter, so a lot of places don't stock parts for Alco axles. So I had to order the brake magnets and also the wheel seals. So they won't be here till Friday, so that leaves me down with no trailer brakes for the rest of the week. So yeah, it stinks that I'm not running, not out there, enjoying the road or making money. But like I always say, you got to take the good with the bad, and that's why these are types of things or types of reasons why you run for the rates that you do, so that if something like this arises, you're not scrambling or jumping at the bit because you don't have any money saved up to set for a couple days while you're trying to do repairs. So like I said, I wish I was out there running, making money. I'd rather not be sitting at home not making any money, but that's kind of out of my control right now. So I just take the good with the bad and I keep on moving. But since I'm not on the road, I still wanted to get some videos out to you guys. And one of my last videos, I had somebody comment, and they asked a series of questions that they don't see a lot of people on YouTube that do Hotshot talk about. So I figured I'd go through that comment with all the questions that were asked and try to address them to the best of my ability. So I got my phone here because I couldn't remember them all. So I'll try to run down, by looking at the comments and everything, and all the questions that they asked. So there's no particular order. The questions were kind of all over the place, like wasn't like a chronological order type of question. So I'll just say the question, and then give my answer. So the first question they asked was, how do you get your trucking LLC? So there's no specific trucking LLC per se. There's no LLC that is specifically for trucking. It's just a business LLC. And then getting your LLC, it all depends on whether or not you want to be an LLC. Some people set up, their business structure completely different. Some people want to be a sole proprietor. Some people want to be an LLC, C corporation, S corporation, whatever. So like me personally, I'm an LLC, but for tax purposes, I'm an S corporation, which allows you to um, your taxes to be more of like a corporate tax than your sole proprietorship. Because if you are a sole proprietor, basically you're taxed on all of your income, which is whatever your company makes that year. So, if you make $200,000 that year as a sole proprietor, you're going to get taxed 200 on $200,000. Whereas if you claim yourself if you're a sole proprietor or an LLC, and then once you if you change to an LLC and you go to a S corporation for tax purposes, that allows you to be taxed as a corporation. So what that does is, because if you're let me back up here. If you go to become an LLC and you're a single member LLC, so it's just you, you're still taxed like a sole proprietorship. So if you go over to an S corporation, you are allowed to be taxed like a corporation, which basically you pay taxes only on your profit margin. So if you made $200,000 that year, but your expenses were 150, you're only going to get taxed on that $50,000 profit, because you are technically a shareholder of the company when you are in the S corporation. So, it's I'm not a tax guru by any means. So, look this stuff up on your own also to get more information. But, kind of like a short and sweet thing, as a shareholder, basically your business doesn't pay any taxes at all. What happens is whatever the taxes are, they get passed on to the shareholder. So my business pays no taxes, but the whatever my business owes in taxes, I get a K-1, which is just a tax form, and then I use that and enter that in for my personal taxes. Like I was getting a W-2 or something like that. It all depends on which corporate or which tax structure and which company structure works for your business the best. If you're a single member, one thing might work better than the other. If you have multiple people that own the business, something else might work. So it all depends on what's best for your company. Don't follow mine or follow somebody else's. You can take some advice from those other people, but don't do exactly as I do, because it might not fit your company structure. The next one is, how do you do your trucking taxes? So, to add on to what I was saying before, there's no specific trucking taxes. It's business tax. If you're running a business, you're going to be paying business taxes, whether that's corporate taxes or personal taxes, whatever. But TurboTax has, a software that you can use to do business taxes, or you can take them to somebody who does taxes, who specializes in business taxes, and they can do them for you. So anybody or any software that's able to do business taxes, that's what you would use for your trucking company to do those taxes. And then the next question is, find a trucking accountant. So you can find, when it comes to accountants, basically you're going to look for an accountant who is business savvy, of course, somebody who is normally working with businesses. And then some people have not more knowledge than others when it comes to the write-offs that you can use on a trucking company. So that's what you kind of want to look for when you're looking for an accountant. Somebody who is good at business taxes, but also is very knowledgeable in the write-offs and the exemptions that you can have for trucking companies, because those things change. It seems like every year, you're able to use this exemption, and then the next year you're not. So, you want to have somebody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to those exemptions when you're looking for an accountant. But most of the time, anybody who is an accountant and works with businesses a lot of them know the trucking company exemptions and things like that. So, it's just all about asking, when you're searching for an accountant. It's just all about telling them, because most accountants, when you tell them you have a business, you need an accountant, they're going to ask you what kind of business you have. So, you tell them that you have a trucking company, and you'll kind of be able to feel whether or not they're well versed in that knowledge of the exemptions and everything for a trucking company. The next question is finding reasonable trucking insurance. And that's really all about just shopping. It ain't no different than if you're trying to buy a truck and you're shopping at different dealerships trying to see who's going to give you the best deal. It's the same with trucking insurance. You're going to want to shop around and see who's going to give you the best premiums for the coverages that they offer. But one thing you have to keep in mind is, if you're going to be using a lot of brokers, especially if you're first starting and you're going to be on the load board a lot because you don't have a lot of customers, you got to be careful with certain insurances because there are a lot of brokers out there don't work with certain insurances. They go off of a company called AM's Best. And all AM's Best is an auditing company that basically audits insurance agencies on their ability to pay out claims. So those brokers are going off of that rating from AM's Best. So if the insurance company isn't rated or doesn't, most brokers are B plus or better. So if the insurance company isn't rated or is rated lower than a B plus, there are brokers that won't work with you because of that insurance. So just be mindful of that. There's still a lot of brokers who don't care, that don't go by AM's Best, because there are a lot of different auditing agencies out there for insurance agencies. But AM's Best seems to be the golden standard for a lot of the brokers. So just kind of be mindful of that when you're searching out for insurance companies. You don't want to get an insurance company because the premium's cheap, but then not be able to get any loads from any brokers because they have no rating or they're not they have a bad track record of paying out claims or something like that. So just be mindful of that when you're looking for insurance companies. So just shop around and see who's got the best bang for the buck. So a lot of times insurance is going to be your highest cost in the trucking industry. So don't think that you're going to come out on top by getting a super cheap insurance company. You're probably most likely to get a decent insurance company that has a decent rating where you're not going to have to worry about brokers not working with you. You're probably going to pay a pretty decent premium, but that's the cost of playing the game. So the next question is, how do you cover your butt if a receiver says that the freight is damaged? There's a bunch of different ways to do that. I know like car hauler guys, they take pictures, before and after, before they pick it up. And then, once they get to the delivery site, and I kind of took a page out of that book. I take pictures of everything, especially freight that's high value freight. I take pictures of everything. If I got a piece of equipment, I'm taking pictures of windshields and things like that. If I see any damage on the shipment before I take it, I will take pictures of it. I will call my customer or the receiver or the broker and let them know what's going on, what's damaged before I even leave. That way there's plenty of documentation, and I'll also document it on the bill of lading, and have the shipper sign it so that there's plenty of documentation on there to cover my behind when I get to that receiver. Because if you don't do anything and you just take the shipment and it's damaged, there's that receiver doesn't know that. They don't know that it was damaged before, because I'm sure they probably heard the story a million times that, this was damaged before I picked it up. Well, if you don't have anything saying that it was, or no proof, that burden's going to fall on you. So do anything and everything possible, from taking pictures, denoting it on the bill of lading, calling the receiver and letting them know what it is, calling the broker, letting them know it's damaged. All those things can cover your behind when it comes to a damaged shipment. Um, so the next thing is, about getting a PO box for your trucking company, so people don't have your home address. That all depends. Some people have their home address as their business address. Some people, to get a PO box, all you have to do is go to your local post office and ask for a PO box, and then they use that. Or if you have a yard or something like that, where you park your trucks and everything, you use that address. So it's all about where you want to get your mail from and things like that. But just be mindful, you can't have a PO box, in one state and be running out of another state and have it your truck tagged and titled in another state. Your tow vehicle has to be tagged and titled, or not titled, yeah, titled, tagged and titled in the same state that your business is out of. So for IFTA reasons and IRP and all that stuff, all that paperwork stuff that everybody hates. So just remember that, wherever your business address is, that's where your vehicle's got to be registered. Trailer doesn't matter. It's the your towed vehicle. So it's really kind of personal preference on whether or not you want to get a PO box or use your home address. Let's see. The next question would be, um, getting trucking medical insurance as an owner of a trucking company. Um, so that's no different than getting your own insurance. Whether if you're self-employed or whatever, there's plenty of insurance agencies out there for medical, dental, or health and dental and vision and things like that, that you can self-insure. Um, there's plenty of companies out there that'll do that for you. Also, if you're an owner operator, there's OIDA, which is the owner, like a owner operators union type of thing. It's like a membership. They offer insurance also. There's a couple other owner operators or trucking, associations that, you pay a membership fee to, that you can also purchase medical insurance or vision or dental or life insurance through. Or you can just go through, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, or Cobra or something like that, and pay out of pocket for those insurances. So that's no different than if you were self-employed any other place looking for insurance. Or, if you're married or something like that and your spouse works, you can go on their insurance if possible. Um, let's see. Getting your DOT number. So there's a couple different ways that you can get your DOT number. Either you can go online and look up how to get your DOT number, and apply for one online on the website, or you can pay a compliance company to do so. Um, Me personally, I paid a compliance company just because I was still working another job and I didn't really have the time to sit down and read and look up everything on all the information that I needed. It was easier for me to just give the information to the compliance company and let them do it all for me. But with that, you have to pay for that service. So if you're trying to save a little money, you can go on the website and do it yourself. They also asked the question about how to get your MC number. It's basically the same thing. You go, to the FMCSA's website. They have a whole list of how to do what, and you follow those steps and you apply for your MC number. And there's a bunch of stuff that you have to have before you can get your MC number and before it goes active. You just follow those steps, and it'll tell you step for step how to get those things done. Or, like I said before, you can go through a compliance company and they can do that also. Um, Getting your TWIC card. So there's different here in Virginia. I'm not sure how it is in other states, but here in Virginia, you can go to the scales. There's certain scale houses that have the ability, to take your fingerprints and take your picture and do the whole TWIC card thing. And then they have certain, just like little pop-up stands almost, where you can go and get your TWIC card. You can look up online, places that allow you to come in there and get your TWIC card. with COVID, I don't know if it's something you can just walk in or you got to make an appointment. I'm not sure. I've had my TWIC card for years. I don't I haven't gotten it recently, you know, so I don't know what it is like through COVID. But basically, wherever you're located at, you can just get on the internet and type in, you know, how to get TWIC card near wherever you're located at, and it should point you into the right direction to get your TWIC. You know, you go in there, then you fill out your, you know, the TWIC application, and they take your fingerprints and they take your pictures and they take your money, and then, you know, a couple days later you get your TWIC card, and then you get the little card that has your fingerprints and your TWIC pin and all that stuff, and then you're good to go. How to deal with oversized loads and trucking permits. So that goes by state. Not every state is the same. You know, you can look on each state's website on what they require for oversized loads. Every oversized load, you know, is going to require a permit, but it just depends. Each state is different on what they require along with that permit. You know, certain states say, you know, if you're over 12 wide, you got to have pilot cars and things like that. So it all depends on the state with that. So all you got to do if you're going to haul, you know, move an oversized load, wherever you're moving it to or moving it from and to, if it's a intrastate, you know, in the same state move, it's pretty easy. You just got to get one permit and you look it up how to do it, and you get your permit, you pay for it, you get it, has your directions on the route that you have to take and things like that. If you got an interstate move, it's a little bit different because you got to get a permit in each state, and each state may require a different thing. So that's another thing that you just look up on the website of the state, you know, the state's Department of Motor Vehicles website, and usually they have a drop down menu where you can click, you know, oversized. It'll tell you, you know, who to call, what information you need, you know, in order to run that oversized load. And like I said, they'll print out, you know, they'll get you to email your permit, and you can print it out and all that good stuff, and follow the directions for the route and everything like that. So it's pretty straightforward. You know, we're in the age of technology and everything like that, where you can just get on a computer and type in something and it's one click away. You can look it up, and it's pretty self-explanatory because they give you all the steps. The next thing, another question is pretty funny. How do all these obviously unhealthy trucking folks get their DOT physical card? I'm not even going to touch that subject. I have no clue. I don't know what doctors they're going to see. My advice is stay as healthy as possible, you know, eat healthy and all that good stuff so that you can stay fit to drive. A lot of people think that you don't have to be physically fit to drive. That's their own prerogative. Me, I run flatbed, so throwing straps, tarpon loads, stuff like that, I think you need to be pretty physically fit. But as far as how those people are getting their DOT physical cards, their medical cards, I have no clue. But that's their own business. I'm gonna stay in mine. Next one is, what trucking paperwork says you dropped off the load and the receiver has received the load? Basically, that's your bill of lading. You know, when you get to your shipper, they'll give you a bill of lading that, you know, denotes what you have in the shipment. If they don't give you a bill of lading, you know, stop at the truck stop, and I mean, I always advise get you some blank bill of ladings at the truck stop. So if you ever run into the case where they don't give you a bill of lading, you can just write it out yourself, and then get them to sign it, and then that'll tell basically when you got that bill of lading, whether you hand wrote it or they have one printed out for you. When they sign it, that's basically saying that you picked it up. And that you have that load on your trailer. You know, of course, with e-logs, if you're running an ELD, there's a spot for you to put the bill of lading number in your ELD, so that you know is required by law to put that in your ELD. There's a lot of people that don't know that, and there's a lot of people that get fines for that if a trooper is having a bad day. There's a lot of people that get fined for not having the bill of lading number on their ELD or even on their paper log. So just remember to do that. And then once you get to the receiver, once the load is unloaded and it's in good condition, all that good stuff, you get them to sign that same bill of lading or proof of, which is then your proof of delivery. So once they sign it, that's saying that they received it in good condition. And then once they have signed it, you have, sometimes it might be the shipper's signature and the receiver's signature. Sometimes it might be your signature, the shipper's signature, and the receiver's signature. But once the receiver signs it, it then becomes a POD or a proof of delivery. And then that's what you use to get paid. You know, that's what you're sending to your factoring company, or that's what you're attaching to your invoice if you're billing the company directly. That then becomes your proof of delivery. So your bill of lading is the paperwork that shows that you have picked up and delivered, as long as you have the adequate signatures. Always get signatures. And me personally, I go as far to get timestamps. I get time stamped on. I get them to write the time that I left, and then I also get them, the receiver, to write the time that I got empty. I do that for detention purposes. If you are there for 6 hours, get them to put the time on there so that you can get paid some detention, because if not, some people will dispute it even though they knew you sat there for 6 hours. So that's just kind of a good practice to get in. But all in all, your bill of lading is what is going to be your proof of delivery. So that's saying that you actually delivered the product. And I think that was the last question. So hopefully I helped you all out with, if you guys had any of those same questions. I know it was kind of a quick rundown, quick down and dirty. So hopefully I answered those questions to the best of my ability. So hopefully you guys get something out of it. But at any time, if you guys have another question or something that you want me to go more in depth in, just put it in the comments. Just let me know. As you all can see with this video, I do read the comments and I do try to answer the questions that I get to the best of my ability. If it's something that I can answer in the comments, I will. But this was a pretty long comment with a bunch of questions, so I figured I'd make a video about it. Also, I commented it back and said that I would make a video about it, and I'm true to my word. So here we are with that video. So like I said, if you guys ever have any questions or any concerns that you want me to go deeper in, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to get to that. So as always, you guys stay prayed up, grind hard, and stay humble.